what's up? Sanisa, Super Bad Estrada here, and I just want to give a huge special shout out to the relay. Thank you so much for all of the continuous support, and thank you for all of the support during and after and before every single fight.
Welcome to the motherfucking relay. We're covering today's top boxing news.
Okay, we'll start with this. The latest from former unified three-division champion Yokasta Valle of Costa Rica, who posted this caption to her Instagram account, which reads, "With blood in the eye, we return to the ring this July 20th against Ramandeep Kaur of India. It's the necessary step to go for the rematch with Senicia Estrada, Ricardo Saprissa Stadium, broadcasted by Kendall Waston for all of Latin America, ESPN Knockout, Yoka Sports."
She's on the comeback trail.
And not wasting any time, I do like how Yokasta Valle is going about it. The fight with Senicia Estrada, that took place earlier this year, and Yokasta didn't wait a year and a day to get back out there and get back in the winner's bracket.
She's not letting a bunch of time pass before she has another fight.
And so she is set to take on India's own Ramandeep Kaur, 27 years old, to Yokasta, who's 31.
What do we need to know about Ramandeep?
Ramandeep Kaur, an orthodox fighter, fights out of the orthodox stance, sporting a professional record of 15 wins with 3 losses, no draws, 5 knockouts, having never been knocked out in 18 professional bouts.
6 for 6 in her last 6.
To Yokasta Valle, who is currently rebounding off the decision loss to Senicia Estrada, sporting a professional record of 30 wins with 3 losses, no draws, 9 knockouts, having never been knocked out in 33 professional bouts, a former champion at not just 1, but 3 weights. This is going to be Yokasta's first fight with Coach Penda in her corner. Now that she's not with Coach G, Gloria,
Who does Panda train?
trains familiar faces and familiar fighters like former champion Subriel Matias, unbeaten up-and-comer William Zepeda. He currently trains Yokasta Valle. Based on that, you get a good idea why Yokasta went to this guy.
Why?
Pressure fighting. I think she wants to improve on her pressure fighting, her inside game, mid-range to inside, her combinations, her volume, that kind of stuff.
It's the common theme with Coach Panda's fighters.
I believe that's what we're gonna see from Yokasta Valle. Yokasta's already a very busy fighter within a round, very busy in a fight, throwing many, many punches, combinations.
She wants to sharpen those areas, sharpen those tools, I guess.
She will be sharing the ring with Ramandeep. Ramandeep, who has a winning record, though who you fight matters just as much as how often you fight, how often you've fought.
A lot of these girls that Ramandeep has shared the ring with so far are pedestrian-level opponents, pedestrian-level competition. She's got 3 professional losses. 2 of them are to the same girl.
Suffered her first professional loss in January of 2020 to Rinki Kishore, subsequently lost the rematch, which took place the following year. That was in 2021. In 2022, she dropped a decision to Laura Wollenman.
Jerk off too much, you'll get a swollen hand.
What?
Ramandeep ended up rebounding off that loss last year, and now she's 6 for 6 in her last 6 on a 6-fight winning streak, though, as stated, that is against very pedestrian-level competition.
Being seen her in action, she's long and limber for the weight. She's got some height, she's got some length, and there is something there, some ability. But when you fight the kind of girls that Ramandeep has been fighting, what that can result in is arrested development, that you're not really getting better. Even though you're winning, you're not really getting better because the fighters you're fighting aren't much better than the last fighter that you fought or the fighter before that.
Iron sharpens iron.
I see some form from Ramandeep, some countering ability, some defense, some movement,
She's got something.
but nothing that Yokasta Valle hasn't seen before, nothing that Yokasta Valle has to worry about. Their quality of competition really is night and day.
My guess is
Just a first look. I think Yokasta Valle is going to look to crowd the pocket as she is the shorter, stumpier fighter of the 2. Take it to Ramandeep Kaur, throw combinations, back her up and back her off, outwork her. It's set to go down in Yokasta Valle's native Costa Rica. No word if there's going to be any association with Golden Boy Promotions or DAZN.
if they're gonna show it.
It's entirely possible that Yokasta's deal with Golden Boy is up, and they might not. I'm not sure. We'll see. But she will have home field advantage.
She's certainly the more battle-tested, more experienced fighter of the 2.
Against better fighters, against a better quality of fighter, better caliber of competition. So, of course, the edge goes to Yokasta. Yokasta's not a knockout puncher. She's not a knockout merchant, even though she is very busy within a round. So Yokasta Valle on points seems likely.
Still pursuing that Sinicia Estrada rematch.
She mentioned this as a necessary step en route to it, but I've heard nothing from the Estrada side of things that would indicate there's going to be a second fight. I would sooner expect Sinicia to move up in weight, vacate all the titles that she won, and campaign somewhere else.
We'll see.
Now, Yokasta Valle will be returning to action next month in her native Costa Rica, and she's on the comeback trail. I like Yokasta on points. In the men's super lightweight division ahead of his upcoming title defense against Canada's own Steve Claggett, Teofimo Lopez says, "I'm not famous, I'm just the best fighter in the world."
If he is, then the expectation would be that he faces better quarry than a Steve Claggett.
That would be an awful waste of the best fighter in the world's time. When he started out fighting, it wasn't about the side effects of a successful career, it was only about being the best. "I never did it for the fame," the 26-year-old Lopez said. "I never did it for the popularity purpose of it. I did it to be the best fighter in the world. As a young kid, I wanted to be the best fighter in the boxing game. That's it. Number one of everything. And look at this. I'm only 26. The other guys that they're rooting for, like Naoya Inoue, Terrence Crawford and them, they're on their way out. They're in their 30s. I'm a baby. And look at how much I've done in the landscape. Two-time lineal champion. And all this at 25. I got everything done faster and earlier than all of them."
No, you didn't, because you were never undisputed.
You're not a 3 going on a 4-division champion like Terrence Crawford or a 4-division 2-time undisputed champion like Inoue. You're not.
It's not saying he's not accomplished, because he is, and he is young.
Teofimo continued, "So whatever people want to say, they can go and do what they want with it. It's just competition, and I look forward to being the best version of myself in this fight and moving forward to the next one. Whatever is planned for me in September, whatever is planned for me in December, you know we're ready for it." You've got to realize, everything has a price. Everything, he said. When you become the best, obviously there's people out there that's going to recognize the best, so you have to understand. I don't like to say that I'm famous. That's something that I don't like to do, because I don't believe I'm famous.
Not yet.
Maybe one day. It's funny hearing him say these things, because he's one of these young fighters that insists on being paid as if he were famous.
Because to make the big bucks, that's what you gotta be. You gotta be famous. You gotta be a draw. And I remember the whole thing with the George Kambosos fight. You wanted big money for what is not a big fight.
Why? Because of how famous you're not.
It is sometimes hard to reconcile things that Teofimo Lopez says.
I just believe that I'm the best fighter in the world. That's it. If you want to consider that as fame, then I don't know what else to tell people, but this is what comes with it. You've got to understand that as upcoming fighters, as people that want to come up and be where they want to be, you've got to understand this is what comes with it. You have to be prepared for every type of angle. You cannot just be the best and say, I'm going to have peace in my life. No, you're going to be the best, and you're going to have peace, but you're going to have peace amongst the people. You have to learn how to orchestrate it the best way. It's like music, like a violin. You have to know how to play your tunes, and that's what it is. I give my time, whether it's at boxing events, Top Rank, or ESPN events, I give them my time.
What the hell is he talking about?
To all people. Do you know why?
Why?
Because they come and watch us fight. It's the least that a person could do. It's give back when they've paid to see us. I think that's the true essence of humanity. It's the true essence of the people's champion. And it's the true essence of why Muhammad Ali was, and is, till this day, the greatest of all time. He understood that, and I'm just someone that wants to bring that back.
Well, I don't hold that against him. I won't begrudge him his ambition, if that is something that he aspires to.
I believe the only one I have left to cement my legacy in that degree and get the triple crown that I'm aiming for, and the reason why I came back to add more to my legacy, is Terrence Crawford. Having earned all the belts at 147, he said, Terrence Crawford is someone I definitely want to have on my resume and definitely want to show the world why I'm not just number one, but the best fighter that they've seen in a long time. But what of his contemporaries? What of names in and around his weight class that could cement his legacy and earn him further fortunes, such as Gervonta Davis, Shakur Stevenson, Devin Haney? There is, in this era, the chance of a Four Kings-style round robin.
I don't believe he wants to fight Terrence Crawford. I think he's aware of the same news that we're all aware of, that Terrence is going to 154. He's otherwise preoccupied. Unless you plan on going up there, he's not coming back down. So when you call him out with the knowledge that the fight is not likely to happen.
But it sounds good, so you do it. I think I'm the only one that stood on the Four Kings emblem, Lopez said. I believe I faced all the lineal world champions and undisputed champions. They have yet to fight those types of fighters. Despite the Haney and Ryan Garcia situation, look at how it flipped on them. So I can't really say those guys are something that I'm angling for.
No Haney, no Stevenson, no Davis.
I'm at the point where I'm on a different road from them. My path is so much different from them. You can tell with the accolades I've got so far. I could retire today and actually wait to 3 to 5 years and be inducted into the Hall of Fame. So imagine that. All before turning 30. At this point in time, my whole thing is I love the sport too much to let it go like that, and I'm aiming north, because that's where I'm headed. I believe that the 140-pound division, they have their agenda with these fighters, and I'm not going to say I'm going up to 147 right away. I'm just saying if we don't get these unification bouts because of whatever reason that these promoters are doing with their fighters, they want to be safe with them because it is a gamble when you face Teofimo. Come on, look at it. Every time we face someone that actually comes and has a style that doesn't come to run, that actually comes to compete, we do our absolute best. And that's what boxing's all about. That's what I believe fighting is all about. You can't say that you're ready to fight someone and then when you get hit by Teofimo, you just start running away. And people are so hard on me like that, but I'm hard on myself in those things that I even asked former world champions, people from the 90s and the 80s, people that were in the Olympics like Roy Jones. I asked Antonio Tarver. I asked Roberto Duran. I asked a lot of them and they told me, it's not your fault that this guy Jermaine Ortiz fought the way that he did. It's a really difficult task to stop a guy that doesn't stop to engage. Whether the pressure's on me or not, I like it. This is what comes with it. It's something I told myself would happen eventually one day, and today's that time.
That's a flaw Teofimo has. If he has to go out there and chase the guy, he's not as good coming forward as he is hanging back.
The same is true of many boxer punchers, counter punchers like Teofimo Lopez. And that is something that he has to work on moving forward, because whether he likes it or not everybody fights the same. Not everybody's gonna sit there and trade, sit there and engage. Not everybody's gonna do that.
So what should we expect this weekend?
Steve Claggett is not on the level of a Teofimo Lopez, and stylistically, he's a mid-range to inside fighter with a hefty knockout percentage. So this is not the kind of guy that Teofimo's gonna have to chase.
This guy plays into Teofimo's hands. His power, his counter-punching, speed.
Teofimo should win.
So he's called me a prick, and I've gone back to him and said, who are you fucking calling a prick? And, you know, he's come back and said, I don't like you. I'm like, fair enough, you don't like me. But all I've done is been honest and give constructive criticism on what you've done since losing to Ruiz and Usyk and where you're going now. You're fighting Dubois. There's no need to get personal. No need to start on a man's hooter. It's looking pretty good, by the way. And then you've got your £10 and your £20 notes rolled out on your bed. He's saying,
get on my level. Get on my level.
Levels. It's all about levels. Where's the humble guy gone?
The humble guy? You're calling for the humble guy to come back? When he was the humble guy, all he did was get criticized.
By people like you.
Where's remain humble? Stay humble. Listen, you talk about levels. He says, I'm not on his level.
You're not. Do you think you are?
But he's talking about money. Fair play to him. He's made a fortune. He's smashed it. But let's talk about levels in terms of legacy.
Carl, no disrespect, because I do like Carl Froch. You're not on his level in terms of legacy either.
Seriously.
And fights and career wins. A little fat kid from Mexico made him quit, for fuck's sake.
There it is. The token Andy Ruiz reference. I knew it would come up.
He spat his gum shield out and is looking around looking for the corner, looking for people in the crowd to help him out. He got punched from pillar to post. The referee's looking at him. Do you want to carry on? Do you want to keep fighting? And what's he done? He's quit on his feet. That is embarrassing.
Well, they can't shame Anthony Joshua for losing to Alexander Usyk anymore because Fury just lost to him.
So here comes the token Andy Ruiz reference.
Something the Cobra would never ever do. And you can take that to the bank.
You're frowning your face all up, Carl. Did Anthony hit a nerve?
Do you think that you are entitled to dispense criticism without taking it, without taking any of your own?
So when you talk Anthony Joshua down, do you expect him to like it?
Would you?
Does anybody in that situation? Farrell Crotch is a bit of an edgelord.
He tries to be edgy.
Main tenet of an edgelord is deliberately saying things to shock and upset people, ruffle feathers, bordering on contrarianism. So when somebody's riding high and doing well, it's not uncommon for an edgelord like Farrell Crotch to choose that moment to start tearing them down and talking them down.
Because he's trying to be edgy.
That's not saying that all Farrell Crotch's takes are bad takes. They're not all bad takes. I've agreed with him on numerous occasions when it comes to other subjects, but when it comes to the subject of Anthony Joshua, I just feel like he deliberately tries to ruffle feathers.
I feel like Carl and several other people, they made a decision a long time ago that they're never going to give Anthony a fair shake. They're not going to like this guy.
No matter what's going on, from what I've seen, Anthony Joshua is one of the most overanalyzed, over-scrutinized fighters, and that didn't all of a sudden happen. It's been that way from the beginning. Out of the amateurs, into the pros, he was already in the hot seat, under the hot lights, under the microscope.
Already.
It comes with the territory, and Anthony, he does have to accept that it comes with the job. But the same applies to Carl.
Huh?
The same applies to Carl. Farrell Crotch is not some random YouTuber making videos in his basement saying this and that about Anthony Joshua. No, Carl is a well-known boxer, like Anthony's a well-known boxer, though not as well-known as Anthony. Better still, if Carl says something, it's gonna get around, and when it does, well, what do you expect Anthony's reaction to be?
Do you expect him to like what you're saying?
I saw Carl's reaction to the reaction, Anthony's reaction to all the stuff he said, and it came off as whiny, cringy.
You're the one coming at the guy. What do you expect him to say? And they come at this guy, then get surprised.
He's mad.
At how he responds.
Because he's expected to just take in and accept whatever it is you say, warranted or otherwise. You're still bringing up the Ruiz fight like there wasn't a rematch that he won in lopsided fashion. Seems that that's the most that you can use against him.
You lost to the fat guy from Mexico.
It's a short-sighted criticism, a gross oversight, because that's the same Ruiz who arguably beat Joseph Parker. That if not for them being on New Zealand soil, Ruiz would have got a decision. That's the same Ruiz who beat Luis Ortiz.
You talk about him like he's some scrub.
Because he's fat.
Because he's a fat guy.
Where's the humble guy gone? Where's remain humble? Stay humble.
Anthony has to stay humble. Anthony does. You don't, because when has Carl Froch ever been humble?
You get to talk about your career accomplishments and your accolades. He doesn't. You talk like your accolades and your accomplishments are better than his.
They're not.
And I'm fully aware of Carl Froch's career, his resume. He fought a lot of good fighters, beat some good fighters. He is accomplished. But you're not more accomplished than Anthony Joshua, and you didn't do for British boxing what Anthony Joshua did.
You didn't.
You really didn't. British boxing was a lot more insulated in those days than it is today. Anthony Joshua is a part of the reason British boxing was able to go to the next level, to where it's not just Brits taking it in anymore.
Anthony is a part of that.
He was boxing in Saudi before it became the trendy thing to do, before it became what it is today. Do you remember that the Andy Ruiz rematch, that was in Saudi?
They don't ever give that kid his flowers. They don't want to. Carl Froch doesn't want to. No, I think Carl Froch is one of these people that looks at Anthony, he sees the kid's got his looks and his physique and his money and all the success he's had, and he tells himself, why should this guy go without criticism?
Why should he be spared any? He's got so much going for him already.
Let's take him down a peg.
Carl's not the only one. For years, I've watched this. When Anthony was more PC, PG, user-friendly, advertiser-friendly, some people said he was just putting up a facade for sponsors, corporate sponsorships and endorsements, that he was just being commercial.
He was being fake.
I remember that Tyson Fury called him a plastic Nigerian, as opposed to what?
A real one?
It's a real one to you, because it seems unless Anthony Joshua fits into certain stereotypes, you think he's being fake.
You want he should go everywhere wearing a do-rag, spilling jollof rice all over the place?
To make you happy, since you think he's being fake, or is it that it's not that he's being fake, it's that he's more successful than you would like?
There you go.
You think he needs to be taken down a peg. You think he needs to be humbled, that given everything he already has going for him, he shouldn't be spared criticism. But that's just criticism for the sake of criticism.
Which is a little different than actually having something to be critical about. You're criticizing him for the sake of criticizing him.
Just to do it. And I'm not here trying to convince you that Anthony Joshua or any other fighter is above criticism. But neither is Carl Froch. What do you think you are, Joe Calzaghe?
Think you're perfect?
Got a perfect record? Nobody can say nothing? Nobody can put you under a microscope? The truth is, when you dispense criticism, these are the reactions you have to expect. You have to expect that Anthony's not gonna like it. I mean, here on this channel, I take shots at any number of fighters, and I don't imagine those fighters would like what I'm saying, whether it's warranted or not.
I expect they're not gonna like it.
So you think it's okay and it's alright to criticize Anthony Joshua?
And it is.
You're free to react however you see fit. Well, so is he. It's a two-way street. You took shots at the guy so that when he takes shots back at you, you can start asking, where's the humble guy? Be humble?
Why, is that what you are?
I'll ask again, when has Farrell Crotch ever been the poster child for being humble and being modest?
Never.
Rules for thee, but not for me? Is that how it works? You've got this and that to say about Anthony, and for that, he thinks you're a prick.
What did you expect him to say?
Oh my god. Thanks so much, Cobra. I'll take your criticisms into consideration.
I'm so happy that a somebody like you is taking shots at a nobody like me.
Thank God for you, Farrell Crotch.
Just don't know what Carl was expecting. You take shots at the guy. What do you expect him to say?
What would you say if it were you?
Double standards. That's all I see. Double standards.